to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast and the Miami Heat Zone podcast. My name is Amir, joined today by Martel, and then we also have a returning special guest joining the program once again. We have Royal A. Shepherd from the Basement Sports Network. What's up, Royal?
What's going on, gang? How are you?
Doing good. Can't complain. Excited to talk to you because I know it's been a few months since you were on a roundtable with the rest of the crew before the playoffs, and so we had a fun conversation. So excited for you to join the program again. Not too much has happened recently in the news with the Miami Heat outside of like the Jimmy Butler extension. We're obviously on Donovan Mitchell watch. So I wanted to talk to you specifically around Jimmy Butler today because I don't know what else to talk about at this point. But I want to get your perspective on the extension. So um, there's been a lot of speculation and rumors out there that the Miami Heat might wait based on what Pat Riley said in terms of offering an extension until next season. We know Jimmy Butler and Bernie Lee mentioned that, once July 7th comes around, when they're finally eligible for that, they're going to ask for the max and they want to ask it from the Miami Heat and stay in Miami specifically. But because Pat Riley said that we're going to take a wait and see approach, the Sixers and a few other teams have been rumored that they're interested in giving Jimmy Butler a max and want to trade for Jimmy Butler if he becomes available. So, what are your thoughts on the whole extension piece? Do you think the Miami Heat are actually going to wait till next year to offer the extension, or do you think they'll cave and offer either the full extension or maybe a slight discount? Or can it go the other route where we don't offer it and then Jimmy requests the trade? Or the Miami Heat say, hey, we see a lot of like speculation out there that people are willing to give whatever draft capital or these players. Like maybe we should strike while the iron's hot and capitalize, get some assets for Jimmy Butler so that way we can use that to, retool or rebuild with Bam Adebayo. What's your thoughts on the whole extension piece?
So I think with my track record, everybody knows what my preference would be: trade his ass, get him up out of here, get them picks. But I do not believe that the Miami Heat and I share that preference. I think what Pat Riley did in his presser was really like smoke and mirrors. Give the illusion that I'm going to be harder on Jimmy Butler in order to inevitably give him exactly what he wants later this offseason. I think Jimmy's getting that fucking extension, and I'm going to hate every bit of it. I did for a while think that it was going to be it was going to be tied to what the Donovan Mitchell situation was. Like if we get Donovan Mitchell, maybe they try and convince Jimmy to allow them to have a little bit more flexibility to make some more moves to flesh out the team a little better, and maybe wait till next year before he gets the extension. And if they don't, then it just kind of give it to him, let the bill die with Jimmy's career. That's kind of where I see this headed. I feel like I was more confident in the Donovan Mitchell thing before we actually got into the thick of the Donovan Mitchell thing. Like now that I'm hearing conflicting reports about, Cleveland being confident and keeping their entire core together or whatever, it has me a little weary of, kind of where his headspace is. And I just don't want Miami to move like that because it gives me PTSD in accordance with what happened last year with Dame Lillard, whereas Miami kind of like waited around and just kind of put all their chips into one basket only to miss out on Dame Lillard and everything else subsequently thereafter. So I feel like Donovan Mitchell, I don't want Miami to do that. But in terms of like the Jimmy Butler thing, I think Miami's going to extend him. Um, I I hate it too, bro. Like because I feel like that's just going to handicap them in a way where they're not moving forward. They're not trying to create anything different around Bam, and we're going to just see, small changes around this roster where we're getting a different iteration of the exact same roster again for 2 more years. Because the extension only essentially adds 1 more year onto his contract, so he has next year and then adds an additional year. So that's punitive in his own right. But like, I just feel like they're going to give him this extension, and then we're going to end up right back where we were this year with like what's the phrase that's been going around? Shuffling chairs on the Titanic. Like that shit's been happening. Like I feel like we're in for another year of that. And so yeah, I believe that the two options are either Miami extends him now or they choose to try and double down on the shit Pat Riley was saying and try to press their luck next year. Jimmy Butler comes out, has an all-star season, and then ends up walking for absolutely nothing.
But the thing is, Royal, it's like we don't even need him to have technically an all-star season. I just think that if Jimmy Butler, like, let's say he plays the 65 games, but he actually plays in those 65 games, I think that the Miami Heat are actually okay. But I just think
Yeah,
if you have a Jimmy Butler that, and his agent even came out pretty much saying that, yeah, there's maybe a few games that he really didn't want to play. I think that's absolutely foolishness. And it's weird how the Miami Heat are bending to that because, especially in the past, they're letting Jimmy Butler get away with things that D Wade and LeBron, couldn't even do. And I get it. You kind of have to ease up as times like change. But if we're going to give this guy $50 million and we really can't count on him throughout the regular season, how can he even request a max? And I think that the Miami Heat have been pretty lenient towards him. They got Kyle Lowry, even though the Miami Heat never wanted Kyle Lowry. Sometimes you have to like appease your best star, and that's exactly what they did, and it didn't work out. And Jimmy Butler never held him accountable. He continued to do whatever he wanted to do. You see what I'm
but
saying?
Martell,
Uh-huh.
like to that end though, bro, like that would have held up had no other teams come out and said we're willing to give Jimmy Butler the max. Miami has the ball in their court essentially right now, where it's like we can give him the max right now, and then okay, none of you other teams are relevant. But because so many other teams said that they are willing to give Jimmy Butler the max, then he knows that all he has to do is come back this season and play those 65 games. But he holds all the power next offseason.
Yeah.
Like he can leave Miami at the altar next year after he's had 65 games of good play and he knows other teams already are willing to give him the max.
But I'm saying is that like people were making a big deal about him missing games, and okay, yes, it is a big deal. But if he would have just played the 65 and actually play in those 65 games, I think the Miami Heat would have had a better record because there's a bunch of games throughout the past few years. If he would have just tried, we would have won the game to the Orlando Magic or the Pistons or the Spurs or the Grizzlies with no jaw. All those games where he was trolling around 8 shots a game. If he was actually just to play those games, the Miami Heat would have actually been a little bit more better, just a little bit better in terms of we probably would have won maybe like 5 to 6 more games.
I agree with you, but that goes to your earlier point about how the Miami Heat have bent to placate Jimmy Butler. They've allowed that to happen, and now they're trying to crack the whip on him. And he's like, "No, we're gonna keep doing this shit. Give me the max." He has not earned a max extension from Miami based on the way that he's played in these past last year, especially, but portions of the year before, where he didn't play for most of the first time. Go ahead.
So because when you look at Heat Twitter and you look at all the Heat fans, all they're going to talk about is the playoff success.
Sure.
The playoff success. And that's fine. And don't get me wrong. Does his play during the playoffs equate to that quote unquote max? I guess. But how can you have a $50 million player per season that's not contributing in the regular season? I think that's one of the biggest things. So, and the thing is, they did give him a max. They gave him $150 million. They already gave him his max. Yeah. So what I don't understand is how come Jimmy's not looking at it in terms of why don't I take a little bit less to help build up this roster?
How would you look at your job if they said, "Hey, we need better people around you at your position, so we're going to we want you to take less money"? Would you go into your job and willingly take less money, Martell?
Hold on though. So, but then Jimmy Butler has to give us that $50 million a year success during the regular season. That's just me, because we all know
I agree.
He won't ever come out and diss his teammates. But ever since year one with Tyler, you've seen how they've drifted a little bit. And there's certain. Does he love his teammates? Yes, I think. However, he knows that he could have better teammates.
I agree that I think that there are opportunities to kind of like where Jimmy has kind of soured on some of the teammates, and there were opportunities to kind of like move off of them and move in a different direction. And Tyler Herro is the perfect example. Like I feel like maybe like 2 years ago, I started to see Jimmy kind of sour on Tyler Herro as a teammate or whatever, but the organization believes in Tyler Herro. And that's going to be a situation where they overrule the player, where it's like, no, we gave you Kyle Lowry. Okay, so that's your decision in terms of roster.
And he never held him accountable. He never held Kyle Lowry accountable.
That's his friend. That's not his job. My job, I'm trying to get my friend a job. Once I get the job, it's your job. You have the culture. You hold the standards.
But we did.
You did it.
And Kyle Lowry never, he never got in shape.
That's not Jimmy's fault. That's
not Jimmy's problem.
That's Lowry's manager's fault, right? Which is Pat, Mickey, Spo, everybody else. He got him in the door. He wanted him. He vouched for him. He verified. He qualified. But then it's like Jimmy doesn't run the team. You can't say, Kyle, stop going to Chick-fil-A on the road. Like, put more work in. Like, it's the coaching staff.
Listen,
Like, it's
And so,
not his
hold
team.
on. Like, so listen, if anybody listens to both this podcast and 5 Reasons, you would have heard, like, the organization they were begrudgingly giving him that 3-year contract.
yes.
But it was because they did not want to give him that 3rd year. But it was because they were competing against teams like Philly and New Orleans and shit who needed a point guard that they went there because they knew how much it meant to Jimmy. So they took that extra loss to get Kyle Lowry in the door. But, bro, like, he never bought into the system that they had here. And Jimmy holds the bag for a lot of that. But the organization also holds the bag for that. Jimmy is under contract already. I will say, no, I do not want Kyle Lowry. And if he don't sign it under 2 years, then we're not going to give. But it's like, you put yourself in a terrible situation. Like, do you risk not getting the most attractive free agent on the market, which at the time Kyle Lowry was? Or do you just like that is the catch-22. That is a situation where I give the front office a little more grace than I do in other situations.
Yes, because I'm fine with that because they took a chance at the time and he was the best piece at that time. Yes, looking back on it, of course it didn't work, but every trade is not going to work. So let's
Lonzo Ball was out there too, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
Who?
Lonzo Ball. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but look at his knee now.
Hey, bro.
Hey, he got a new ligament. Hey, he might be back this next season. We could have stashed that net away, right? Like
did he get that knee from a corpse? Listen, brother, listen, I'm just saying, like, injuries aren't transferable. He may not have gotten hurt here, but he was also cheaper than Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Younger than Kyle Lowry.
But Kyle, though, at age 35, like the year before, whatever, had still a good season. You don't know how much they're going to fall off in 1 year. Look at Chris Paul, like, at age 36, 37, you're like, this guy's like a mini LeBron. He's still like performing well. This is when they went to the finals against the Bucks.
What
like,
are you giving that?
And then the next year he fell off. Are
you giving that? Are you paying a 35-year-old 3 years?
Like at that $30 million? No, of course not.
That is the issue. It's not that you brought him in. It's not that you paid him. It's that the contract in and of itself. Okay, whatever. The $30 million. I did not care for the first 2 years of that contract. Because, like, you accept that as terms of it. 1 year, he was productive. That first year, he was productive. Second year, he fell off a fucking cliff. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That 3rd year, when he was a lingering asset on this roster, and he got to the point where you needed to attach a first-round pick to him to move him off of a $30 million expiring, needed a first-round pick attached to him in order to get a lateral move at best.
Yeah.
Like, Terry Rozier is a better player. I will give him that. But he did not dramatically change life for the Miami Heat.
But do you think that they should have went for DeJounte Murray? Because I know that he was 2 first-round picks.
He was more expensive.
But he would have fit the Bam Adebayo timeline. And he's a bigger guard. He's athletic. I think that he's a better piece in terms of an overall fit on the roster compared to Terry. I do like Terry. Terry can score the ball and all that stuff, but I think that DeJounte Murray, even though he would have been maybe 1 more pick extra, I think it would have been worth the investment now, only because, think about it, like I said, he fits the timeline now and later on.
So I agree that DeJounte Murray might have been a better compliment, but for a different reason entirely. I think that when you're looking at who you already have on the roster, so in a sense, the backcourt mate would have been Tyler Herro. If you have to choose between pairing him with Terry Rozier or DeJounte Murray, in my mind, that is an easy decision. You pair him with DeJounte Murray, somebody with defensive chops who could, like, you don't want 2 defensive liabilities out there. But essentially, in Terry Rozier, you got a different version of Tyler Herro.
Yeah.
Like a score first mentality guard who has some playmaking ability, but essentially he's just smaller black Tyler Herro, bro. Like, that's all Terry Rozier is, bro. Like, and so, like, you end up, and you knew that you could not play them together. So that kind of, to me, that's where this Terry Rozier trade gets dicey, because I like Terry Rozier as a player. But if you knew long-term that you could not play Terry Rozier next to Tyler Herro, then why in the hell is Terry Rozier on this roster? Or why in the hell wasn't Tyler Herro traded? Because you could have traded Tyler Herro to Charlotte And then you probably could have pulled Terry Rozier and PJ Washington back.
It's just like what Dallas did. They got Gafford, they got PJ Washington, and I think a lot of Heat fans don't realize the Miami Heat for all these years, we've really never needed a star player. I think all we needed was complementary role players around Jimmy, Bam, and Tyler. I know that a lot of people don't like Tyler, but if you would have put complementary players around our core three players, we would have been okay. Because think about it, we were able to overachieve with Haywood, Heisman, and all these other, undrafted thing. Where that's a whole nother conversation where they've been. Has the undrafted thing worked? Yes, but now they're just overdoing it, all because they don't want to spend a little bread. You see what I'm saying? But they should have had more complementary role players around Jimmy, Bam, and Tyler all throughout these years.
So I think Tyler is one of those complementary role players that you're talking about. I don't think
Yes,
Tyler.
yes, I agree.
I don't think he's like a build around player. But
I agree.
I am a Tyler Herro hater. Everybody knows this. This is no secret. I have no regrets. I was proven correct. He is not what they thought he was. But I do believe had the Miami Heat, there's a way Tyler Herro could have worked on this roster within the construction of a Jimmy and Bam build. They found the role, bro. The 6-man role, they found it for him. And then they've tried to force something else other than what he excelled at. I feel like if they had a doubled down and leaned into him as kind of like a build-around bench player, where you build the bench around his skill set, and then you surround Jimmy and Bam with more complementary players. They don't have to be better than Tyler Herro per se. They just have to fit better next to Jimmy and Bam. Duncan Robinson is a prime example. He is not a better basketball player than Tyler Herro. He complements Jimmy and Bam's game better. So you start him, bring Tyler off the goddamn bench. And I think Miami went away from that trying to force him into that starter's role because they had already doubled down on that by investing in him. They extended Tyler Herro. I believe that's one of the biggest mistakes that they've made during the Jimmy Butler era is extending Tyler Herro before they had to.
When he didn't prove his durability. But go ahead, Amir.
He had won 6 man of the year, so he earned something.
Yeah, but he did, but he also hasn't played more than 67 games in a season at age 24, which is unreal. But no, I mean, I do agree. I think if Tyler was playing off the bench and we actually tested more role players around the Jimmy and Bam build, like the bubble, we added Iguodala and Crowder. Like they didn't do good at first, but then like luckily, like when COVID happened, there was a break. We regrouped. Like we still didn't do that great. Like what were we, the 5th seed? Like we were the 5th seed, but we caught lightning in a bubble. But they ultimately helped us along with obviously Goran, and then of course Tyler did play good in the bubble. But like those two little pieces did amplify our team. Martel, because Tyler was coming off the bench his rookie year, right, and the second season. So I agree with that. And then we also added PJ and Caleb and other good role players, and they did help amplify us. But injuries have always been the theme that's essentially held Jimmy and Bam from having an opportunity to ultimately lead us to a championship. So I don't know. I kind of go back and forth. Like, is it adding better functional size and role players that are more athletic and better scoring that could have won with Bam and Jimmy? Or simply, are they not good enough offensively? Because everybody is talking about how if you look at the playoffs this year, all of the 2-star systems have elite scorers. Kyrie and Luka, the Jays for Boston. Like even Siakam and Halliburton are more gifted offensively, right, as a duo compared to Bam and Jimmy. Like look at any team, it's all elite scoring. Like, do you guys believe now still if Tyler comes off the bench next season and the Heat are healthy and we add a whoever, like whoever that PJ Washington or Gafford or whoever it could be, like a Kuzma or whatever, is that good enough? Can we win with Jimmy and Bam with better role players and health? Or do we have to go for that DeJounte or Ingram or whoever as like a 3rd star to win a championship? Like, what are your guys' thoughts? I guess that's kind of like 2 questions.
So
Royal,
I think
let's start with you, obviously.
Okay, that Tyler Herro off the bench ship has kind of sailed.
Like
I like it's gone, bro. Like they have positioned him. Even Pat Riley said it in his presser, bro. Like Tyler Herro is a starter in their eyes. So like they have positioned him to a point where they view him as a starter. He will be starting on this roster. Will you have an easier time convincing Terry to come off the bench than you would Tyler? Probably, but my thing it's never been about like it's always been about putting NBA talent around these guys. Like that's what you're talking about. You named NBA players when you're doing it, as opposed to G Leagues and these fucking scrubs, bro. Like that's Cole Schweider like type shit. Like you're trying to make NBA play Haywood Highsmith. Why are you trying to make NBA players when there are fucking NBA players available? Kelly Oubre Jr. played on a minimum this year, brother. Like that's an NBA player. So functional size, yes, but don't try and create functional size out of G League guys and dirt cheap ass options that you can pay $500,000 a year. Like, go get NBA players. Kevin Love is one of the best buyout signings the Miami Heat have ever had, and he was 173 years fucking old by the time he got here. It's because he's an NBA player.
Yep.
And we comparing him to Dwayne Dedman and Cody Zeller. Like, come on, bro. Like, they just need to get, yes, functional size. If you want to get technical about it, functional size is a need. Bam being the sole playable big man on this roster is a problem. But it doesn't just mean like, it's not just having Bam. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not trying to fit smaller guys. Like, Caleb Martin is not a power forward. Stop making him play it. Like, stop trying that. You tried to make Mo Harkless play the 4. You tried to make Trevor Ariza play the 4. Like, PJ Tucker was the only undersized guy who had competent skill level to play up in that way that they've tried. Andre Iguodala is another in the same sense. Jay Crowder too. But like, you've tried to fit like these really KZ Okpala and shit. You get you competent size across the board, like wing and power size. Like get you both of those, and that'll also help. But you just need NBA players on this roster, bro. Like,
so then,
what's up?
How do we fix this? Because let's say they do keep Jimmy Butler, and the contract, yes or no. But let's say obviously we go into next season, obviously with Jimmy Butler. How do we fix this? Because we're in cap hell. We're paying Jimmy, we're paying Bam, we're paying Duncan, we're paying Tyler, we're paying Rozier. So out of those 5, I would say at least one of them has to go.
At least 2 of them.
At least 2. You see what I'm saying? And with those 2 going out, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't think we're in cap hell. We're not in the second apron with a bullshit ass team. We're over the first apron, but we're like pushing it. That's why we having all these issues with signing Caleb and Haywood Highsmith back. Because like signing them only extends the tax bill because we're already over the first apron. I think Tyler, that's a foregone conclusion. Like, that shit's out of here. Like, you have to trade him. You have to.
Will we? Do you think we will this offseason finally?
No, I do not. No.
I don't either.
What I think we should do and what I think we will do are always 2 different things, and I think people confuse the 2 when I talk about them on Twitter or when I talk about them in general. I talk about what the Miami Heat should do all the time. What do I think they will do? Nothing. That's what I think they're going to do. Nothing. Tyler Herro will be the starting shooting guard next year, and I'm going to jump off a fucking mountain because he is the starting shooting guard. Like, they might trade Terry. They might trade Duncan. But I think if they swing and miss on the Donovan thing, then people should be prepared for run it back year 6.
With replacing Caleb and Haywood with minimum vet guys like Torian Prince or whoever we can get in the bargain bin trash can, right?
No, they already got him.
Oh yeah, we got Jamal Cain. I forgot.
Jamal Cain and Alondas Williams will be the new Caleb and Haywood. Yep. That is what you're preparing for. They will get rid of who's the backup center now. We don't know.
We don't even know. I mean, Kevin
Thomas
Love.
Bryant. It's Thomas Bryant.
Thomas Bryant.
They'll get rid of Thomas Bryant, and then they'll let Orlando Robinson have that spot to himself. But, brother, like, there will be nothing. There will be nothing hopeful about next year, bro. Because I think Donovan's going to stay. And I think that's going to prompt Miami to go ahead and extend Jimmy Butler. And once they do that, then Caleb and Haywood are gone. And they have no money. Like, you're not going to sign veteran minimums to increase that tax bill. You're just going to turn some of these guys into standard contracts, Get ready to bring back Drew Smith. Get ready for Drew Smith, buddy. That's what you get ready for.
That's a good
Jay
point.
Rich.
You're right, though, because Alondes is going to cost like what? Like 1.8 million? 1.8
like
versus vet is
500,000.
$3 million minimum, right? A veteran's minimum is $3 million, so you're right.
Yeah, he's going to cost nothing. And that's what they're going to fill this roster out with. Nothing. And you're going to be relying on internal development again. So Jaime Jaquez and Nikola Jovic, them getting and Kevin Love, them getting another year in the Miami Heat system, that is going to be your free agency. Me, I will be rooting for the New Orleans Pelicans and Zion Williamson.
So then, real quick before we close, Royal, in terms of the draft, I don't know like if you paid attention too much or not, but what's it? No.
Brother,
Okay,
listen, go ahead.
So
You
I'll
can ask
say
your
this.
question. You can
Guard
ask your
or
question.
big?
I can answer anything.
Guard or big? Guard or big?
Wing. You're gonna
Wing?
need a wing because you're losing Caleb and Haywood Hospital.
Okay.
And you only have Jaime Jaquez left. You're gonna need another, but we need a guard and we need a big.
But would you be mad at Zach Edey?
I would be furious. I would be beside myself, Martell. I would be irate. I don't know how many other adjectives I can think of for pissed off, but I would be all of those things at one time because that is not a solution to any problem that we have.
No.
I mean, size, he's huge as a person, as a human being, a large human being, but very slow. And so, look, if they draft him, bro, God bless him. Congratulations on achieving your dream. I will not watch a single dribble of your NBA career, brother. Because I'm not watching this team if they bring back Tyler Herro, bro. I can't do it. I can't. I'm not watching. I'm retiring from content creation. I'm opening up. I'm making an announcement. This is a special announcement for the Miami Heat Zone podcast. If Tyler Herro's on this roster next year, Royal A. Shepherd will be retiring from content creation. It is over with. I will turn the basement over to Amir. He will be the new owner.
I'm clipping.
Congratulations to me.
And Congratulations will be hosting every post-game show. Your
viewership is going in the toilet. Listen, congratulations. Y'all can have it. Because I'm out, brother. I'm not doing it.
Well, Royal, thank you so much for coming on. Listen, we definitely appreciate that. Just plug all your networks real quick for me.
I want y'all to follow this platform. Don't worry about what Royal is doing. Anybody who takes time to create content for you, you should support them. And Miami Heat Zone is doing that. So y'all make sure y'all support these guys. Y'all make sure y'all follow their podcast. Y'all make sure y'all follow them individually. Don't follow me. I will only piss you off. Don't worry about where I'm at. It does not matter. This is what matters. The people that are making content for you. Your audience is your audience. And I would like for them to make sure that they're supporting y'all. And don't worry about me, bro. We'll be fine.
Also, go to Roy's platform. It's the Basement Sports Network. He's also on Twitter. Follow him on Twitter. Thank you guys so much. Make sure that you guys like, share, comment, and go follow Amir's channel at Team to Beat. Thank you guys.